Hey guys, today's shave is going to use this boar brush. That's the Semogue Owners Club Taj handle boar brush. He is a well-known brush to use with the slurry lather method. Indeed, I think most boar brushes that are not super small are going to be great with a slurry lather because it starts out so wet, and boar brushes are really pretty much the best brushes in terms of holding water, getting lots of water, and keeping it ready for your shave as you're moving forward with the shave. The big Zenith brush, the B35 that I was using, was great at the slurry method. This guy is as well. I'm going to get him back in the water. I'm just getting over COVID and the flu, and as you can see, I haven't shaved in a long time. So we're going to see if the final cut razor from Yaqi can take down a couple of weeks worth of growth. Astra Platinum, a reliable blade, an inexpensive blade, and in terms of reliable, it is really for me. I know there are some guys maybe who don't like it, but I think the vast majority of people get really good results from it, and it's inexpensive to boot. I have been looking forward to trying out Saponificio Varesino with the slurry lather method. This Cubebe I've used before, and I like the scent a lot. I haven't wanted to travel with it because, as you can see, it's an aluminum tin. It just dents so easily if you have it in a travel bag. So I don't travel with these anymore after I learned my lesson. It's a very hard soap. This manufacturer on their website used to, maybe they still do, say that you should pour like almost boiling water over the soap and let it sit for a while before you use it. I think that's way unnecessary, and I think that's it's probably going to be very soap wasteful, to be honest with you. And part of their motivation for doing that may be to get you to use up more soap than you need to, maybe. But some of their motivation, a company who does that, could be to make sure that you get enough soap on your brush and you get a decent shave, and that could be addressed mainly for newbies who don't know quite how to load yet, and so maybe they're covering their bases, but who knows what their motivation is. But all right, this brush has been soaking. Let me get my beard a good pre-rinse. I don't know if I mentioned it, I'm getting over a sinus infection. My ears are kind of clogged up, so if I'm talking too loud or too soft, I'm really sorry, because I can't really tell. All right, I went ahead and gave my face a good wash because my beard here, to get rid of any oils or anything that would hamper the lather. I haven't used this in a while, so let's kind of use that froth method of just watching it and waiting until we get a decent froth going. See if that works. Leaving a good bit of water in the brush. I haven't really shaken it yet. We're still dripping with gravity. Let's just go for it and see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 50 swirls, and we've already got a decent looking kind of froth developing here. So let's just go with that. See if that's going to be enough soap loaded. More and more of my beard is turning gray. Rinsing out the outside of the tub there. And this action right now and how slick it feels, I think that's kind of what caused me to maybe think about shaving like with a slurry. Because I thought, surely this has got to be shavable, because it feels really slick to the face. So we take our wet brush with the soap. This may not be a typical slurry lather because of all the stubble. And already I may need to add more water. What I'm going to do is put a little bit in the bottom of this lather bowl that I was setting my brush in. Then I can kind of dip my tips if I want to, that kind of thing. Now, I put it on a setting of 3, which may be about what I like to use normally. Let's bump it up to 4. Let's load it up here. Now, this is the inexpensive version. It's the first one that I believe came out from Yaqi. They were probably testing the waters, and because now they have a brass version and they have a stainless steel, and of course those cost more. Astra Superior Platinum. Tighten it down. Pretty good grip here. It's definitely a head heavy razor because the center point, the center of mass is right along the edge, the corner here of this little ring. And so, but it does really work to a disadvantage while you're shaving. It maybe feels a little weird. If the handle were just a little bit longer, that might really help that. Cutting through pretty smoothly, and yeah, this is not really a slurry. This was able to actually come together pretty well in a short time. Lots of stubble in the lather, as you would imagine. Now this one side really got clogged up. Let me take a second and clear that out. All right, there we go. They should show me I need to rinse a little more often in this situation. But as you can see, you can definitely tell how it's easily taken that hair down. It might be a little easier, more convenient if you had an open comb, because they do better with longer hair, but as you can see, it's not really necessary. If you're on a budget and you can only afford one razor and you really like the mild, solid bar type razors, then I think for the most part, you don't really need to worry about an open comb. All right, a little rinse. Wow, a lot of my face just feels really good in terms of shaving closely after just that one kind of pass. Ah, that's more like a slurry. Interesting how it was different with the longer beard. Now a more normal second pass here. In fact, I can take it back. I don't need it to be quite so aggressive. Let's take it back down to a 2. Easily cutting, very comfortable. So this is a modern adjustable. You know, I think it is very good to go to the vintage adjustables like the Black Beauties, the Slims, the Fat Boys, because they just perform so well. But if you want to stick with modern, you know, this guy, and he'll last for several years, I would guess, if you take really good care of it. It is a Zamac razor, and so you'll need to watch for that corrosion. That's just always going to happen at those pivot points, especially on threads, that kind of thing. A little splash of water. You can feel, as is typical with the slurry method, just now I felt a wonderful slickness still on my face. So this soap is definitely compatible, and as you can see, it did not take very much loading. So I just think the instructions to put boiling water on there, I just think that's unnecessary. Now I think we've got more paste on the brush, and so if I did, you know, want to dab it in some water, I could make what's on my face, you know, thicker if I wanted to, but I don't need any more passes than this, so it's just fine. And I got a feeling I could have walked away after that second pass. So this razor definitely took good care of me in terms of nice, efficient cutting, even with such a long stubble. The razor here was gifted to me by Michael Friedberg. Wonderful chance to try something new thanks to him. I've used it a few times and I do enjoy it. It's patterned after the Gibbs razor, a French adjustable that was made out of very nice materials back then. The handles were plastic though, but everything else was nice and, you know, stainless. And so but it was a great design. It tended to be very smooth, and this is not quite as smooth, but it's really pretty nice. And today it's being it's very comfortable. And what am I on? I said a 2. Yeah, see, that's a nice setting for me, for comfy still, and it holds the blade, and that's one of the things. Seems to hold the blade more rigidly than some. It doesn't come super close to the blade when in terms of the bottom, contacting the bottom of the edge, you know. Every razor kind of comes close to the edge from the top cap point of view, but the base plate or whatever, you know, like with a Timeless or a Wolfman or a Carve, then it's really close to the edge, and so you got really good clamping with this one, and even some of the others. There's the DE89 style of razor from like Merkur and Muley and Parker and all those guys, Jagger, those is really backed off, you know, like this, and so you get a lot of more vibration on the blade edge, and I don't care for that. All right, wow, I didn't really expect it to cut me so closely, to just get rid of so much stubble on that first pass. That's kind of a surprise. Let me get a good rinse now. Really nice scent on this soap. I think part of the notes are like a tobacco kind of nuance to it. And, you know, to be honest, and this has happened with a few of the Saponificio Varesino soaps. It's a mouthful, isn't it? Where a lot of the notes that they talk about I don't really get, but what I do get is just a nice scent that I enjoy. and to be honest, sometimes they really smell similar. It's almost like they've picked this family of notes that is always in the kind of maybe the undergrowth of their scents, and so there's so much in common. They're not really very distinctive from another sometimes, and but it's sophisticated. It's like a cologne almost, and it just smells nice. It's really hard to describe because it's so blended. I don't really get too many distinctive florals, definitely not any feminine type florals. But I'm sure there are some in there, but I think they maybe have earthy or slightly fruity notes. What kind of fruit could it be? It would maybe some citrus. There's probably some citrus in there. I don't really taste anything dark. It's really kind of a lively scent. If there's tobacco in there, maybe it's a green type of more fresh tobacco. Anyway, I sometimes am a little disappointed with this brand when I read about it and then I get it and the distinctive notes that it talked about in the description I just can't find. And so I have to take my expectations down a little bit and just think of it as, do I like the scent? Do I enjoy the scent? And a friend of mine, Greg, he shaved with 70th anniversary for the whole month of August. And I think he still enjoyed it. Even after that month, he kept shaving with it, And so sometimes when it's not as simplistic, sometimes when there's a lot of things going on with a scent, then it's easier to enjoy it for a longer time. It's expensive, but it's a hard soap. It is going to last you longer. And so when you compare how many shaves you're able to get out of an ounce of this soap versus a less expensive soap like Sterling or Barrister and Mann, you might start to actually see that it's similar in price because you get so many more uses out of this hard type soap. This is a vegan base. It's a really good one. At least in terms of this kind of shaving just now with the slurry lather method, gave me a very slick feeling shave. Matter of fact, post shave right now, why don't I use the 70th anniversary. I bought a sample pack from Saponificio Varesino. They were running a deal and you get these little kind of single use things. A little hard to tear. Let's we can actually compare how 70th anniversary differs. Their post-shave products are on the expensive side as well. I don't think I have any of those kind of for that reason. If I ever find a good deal on the secondary market, I might pick up one of those. The nice thing about using the aftershave with another soap of the same brand is now it's easy to tell the difference between the two. I'm not going to evaluate the scent here because it feels like it's got a little bit of, it's got alcohol in there and that's kind of affecting things, affecting my perception. So really very nice shave. Even this setting number 2, when I got to the second and third passes, I was left with a couple of spots that maybe were a little shaved too closely. And so it's definitely not in a mild razor, at least to me, even at a setting of number 2. And that may be why it was left on setting number 1 the last time I used it, because maybe I was getting it as mild as it would go. All right. As usual, I want to separate my razor, let some air flow, get some good rinse of water between the layers and give it a good shake, and then it can dry that way. We've got the post shave on. 70th. Some citrus in there. And that probably mixes well with the maybe a little bit of citrus that might have been in the Cubebe. Very fresh. Nothing really dark or undergrowthy about it. Nothing like a strong vetiver or something like a strong woody scent. I could see how it would be enjoyable in the morning to kind of help pep you up a little bit, but it's not so peppy that I would hate to shave it in the evening. And that is it. Today is Veterans Day here in America, in the U.S. And so we're going to go, and there are some different restaurants that offer some neat benefits. And I'm going to go over there and I think we're going to go to CC's Pizza. And they have a special for veterans. And so I'm going to take advantage of that with my daughter, have a fun time. good shave today. Salute to all you other veterans out there. Thank you so much for what you do, what you are willing to do by your service. If you need to, my grandfather and my uncle were both in the service. My grandfather fought in the Korean War, and two of my uncles actually were in the Army as well. So much love out there to you fellow servicemen and the families who support their servicemen, because that's a sacrifice as well, in a big way. Even just not only the letting guys get deployed to accomplish the mission, but just the everyday life, because service families are not wealthy, at least the non-officer kind. The enlisted, a lot of times the wives have to get separate jobs to help make ends meet, as the daily life. And if you get a family, the military does give you rations and things like that, money for food, but a lot of times it's definitely not a generous amount. So a lot of families are it's not a rich life, but it's one where you're serving your country, and you're serving your countrymen, the other people in your country, to help protect them, and that's what it's all about. So take care, guys. Happy Veterans Day to you veterans out there, and good night. See you tomorrow.